Let me tell you something that most people forget, or maybe never even learned in the first place. You are not waiting to become strong. You already are strong. The strength you need to heal, to lead, to change, to rise. It's already inside you. It's not something external, like a tool you go searching for, or a badge someone hands you after you've proven yourself. No, real strength, lasting strength is internal. It's a quiet force that lives at the core of who you are. And the moment you realize that, not just intellectually but spiritually and emotionally, your entire life begins to change. Now, I'm not saying strength always feels like what we think it should. It's not always loud, it's not always confident, it's not always convenient. In fact, sometimes strength looks like just getting out of bed when everything inside you is telling you to stay down. Sometimes strength is silent. It's crying in the dark and still showing up in the light. It's choosing to keep your dignity when no one's watching. To keep your faith when there's no proof things are getting better. That's real strength. The kind that builds character. Not just muscle. We live in a world that conditions us to believe that strength looks like domination, power, visibility. We've been told you have to be the loudest, the fastest, the most aggressive to be considered strong. But that's a lie, because here the truth: strength is not about performance. It's about endurance. It's about presence. And the strongest people I've ever met are the ones who've been through hell, who've been cracked open, bent but never broken, and still choose to love, to lead, to serve, to try again. Psychologically speaking, what we often call strength is actually a process of integration. It's the mind, the body, and the spirit working in alignment. Carl Jung talked about this. About how we all have a shadow, parts of ourselves we hide or deny. Real strength comes when you stop running from those parts and start integrating them. When you face your pain, your trauma. Not to conquer them like enemies, but to understand them like teachers. That's when the real transformation begins. Now don't get me wrong. This isn't easy. Most people avoid this kind of work. They stay busy, distracted, numbed out because it hurts to look within. But here's the paradox. The pain you're avoiding is the path to your power. There's wisdom in your wounds. There's gold in your scars. And if you have the courage to sit with yourself long enough, to ask the hard questions and not flinch at the answers, you'll discover that you've been strong all along. You just didn't know where to look. Philosophers from every tradition have wrestled with this idea. The Stoics believed that strength came from within, that the only thing truly in our control is our mind. Our response, our interpretation. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that's it. Strength is self-mastery. It's discipline. It's knowing when to speak, and when to stay silent. It's knowing who you are even when the world tries to define you. It's not reacting to every insult, not needing validation from every crowd. That's power. That's freedom. Think about your own life for a moment. Think about everything you've been through. The times you thought it was over. The moments when you were betrayed, heartbroken, disappointed. Maybe by others, maybe by yourself. And yet here you are. Breathing, listening, still standing. Maybe you limped your way here. Maybe you crawled. But you didn't quit. And that counts. That matters. That is strength. We often underestimate the value of surviving. We think, if we're not thriving, if we're not excelling, we're failing. But survival is a victory. Endurance is a form of greatness. There's a kind of strength that's forged only in the fire. Not before it, not after it, in it. And I promise you this: every time you choose to keep going, every time you choose growth over comfort, truth over ego, love over fear, you are building a strength that no one can take from you. You want to know what makes someone unstoppable? It's not that they never fall. It's that they always get back up. Smarter, stronger, more aware. They don't let failure define them. They don't let fear cage them. They realize that everything they need is already inside. The clarity, the conviction. It's all there, buried beneath the noise of doubt and insecurity. And when you learn to quiet the noise, when you get still enough to hear your own inner voice, you'll recognize it's been whispering the truth to you all along. You are enough. You are capable. You are strong. You see, life isn't waiting for you to become someone else. It's waiting for you to remember who you already are. To remember that strength isn't something you earn. It's something you reclaim. So as you move forward, whether you're facing a new challenge, healing an old wound, or chasing a vision no one else can see, I want you to carry this with you. You don't have to wait till you feel ready. You don't have to wait until the fear goes away. You don't have to wait for permission or applause. You already have what it takes. The strength is in you. It's always been in you. You are strong. You are unstoppable. Let that be your beginning, not your conclusion. Let's talk about mindset. Because if strength is what you carry within you, then mindset is how you carry it. And I don't mean mindset in the feel-good, social media, slogan kind of way. I'm talking about mindset as your internal framework. The lens through which you interpret the world, respond to challenge, and define yourself. You can be the most talented, most gifted, most skilled person in the room, but if your mindset is weak, you'll sabotage your own potential before the world even gets a chance to. Let's be honest, we all have a narrative playing in our minds. A story. And that story influences everything. How you wake up in the morning, how you show up in relationships, how you respond to setbacks, and how you see your own worth. That story becomes your reality. The question is, who's writing it? Is it you consciously choosing your thoughts, your focus, your direction? Or is it fear? Doubt? Someone else's expectations? Some outdated belief planted in your mind years ago that you never questioned? You see, the human mind is like a powerful engine. But here's the trick. That engine doesn't care what direction it's going in. It'll drive you toward your purpose, or it'll drive you straight into despair. All depending on the commands you feed it. And that's where mindset comes in. Because your thoughts are not neutral. They either feed your strength, or they feed your weakness. They either build momentum or they break it. Let's look at it psychologically. Cognitive behavioral theory tells us that thoughts drive feelings, and feelings drive behavior. So if your thoughts are self-defeating, I can't do this. I'm not enough. I'll fail like I always do. Then your emotions will mirror that fear, that shame, that anxiety, and what follows is self-sabotage. You avoid taking the risk. You procrastinate. But flip the script, not by lying to yourself, but by training your mind. And everything shifts. I've been here before. I've grown through worse. I don't need to have all the answers, just the courage to move forward. Now your emotional state opens up. Your actions start to align with belief, not insecurity. People think mindset is fixed like personality. But that's a myth. Neuroscience proves it. The brain is malleable. Plastic. It changes. It rewires based on what you feed it, how you challenge it. That's what Carol Dweck meant with the idea of a growth mindset. The understanding that your abilities are not static, and your current reality is not your final destination. But you have to choose that mindset, every single day. Philosophically, this goes back centuries. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not just ancient wisdom. That's eternal truth. The world is unpredictable. People are unpredictable. Life will throw you things you never asked for, never deserved. But how you respond, that's your domain. That's where freedom lies. We're not in control of most things in life. But we are in control of how we meet life. And your mindset is the front line. It's what determines whether you see problems or possibilities. Whether you see failure as proof that you're not good enough, or feedback that you're getting closer to the mark. Whether you internalize rejection as personal, or understand that sometimes closed doors are divine redirection. Now I'm not saying this is easy. I'm saying it's necessary. Your mind, left untrained, will default to survival, to protect you, to keep you safe, to avoid pain. That's its job. But you're not here to just survive. You're here to grow, to expand, to rise. And that means you've got to be intentional about how you think. You've got to challenge your default patterns. Because here's the thing, your mind believes what you consistently tell it. So if you're constantly repeating the language of limitation, I'm tired, I'm stuck, I'm broken, then don't be surprised when life responds in kind. Speak to yourself like someone you are responsible for. That's not ego, that's respect. Feed your mind a steady diet of truth, not fear. Remind yourself daily, I am capable, I am resourceful, I am learning, I am rising. And don't just say it, act like it. Because real mindset work isn't about affirmation alone. It's about alignment. It's about backing up what you believe, what you do. Otherwise, it's just noise. Let me tell you something I've learned. And learned the hard way. Momentum is emotional. It's psychological. You don't get momentum by waiting until you feel confident. You get it by moving through resistance. You get it by showing up consistently. Even when you don't feel ready. Especially then. Action feeds belief. Small wins build confidence. Confidence builds courage. And courage, that's what makes you unstoppable. We've all had those moments when our mindset was off. When we let fear talk us out of a good thing. When we overthought and underacted. When we let a moment of failure define us more than it should have. That's human, but staying there. That's a choice. A mindset is like a muscle. Let me say this clearly, and I want to let it settle into your spiriting. Obstacles are not here to stop you. They're here to shape you. They are not interruptions in your path. They are the path. And the sooner you stop seeing obstacles as walls and start seeing them as doors, the sooner you'll understand what it means to become truly unstoppable. We all want the smooth road. We pray for it, plan for it, try to build it. But life doesn't work that way. Life gives us the road we need, not always the one we want. And on that road there are going to be delays, detours, dead ends, painful moments that don't make sense when you're in them. But that doesn't mean you're lost. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're being forged. The idea that you can grow without resistance is a fantasy. There is no strength without struggle. There is no resilience without pressure. A seed has to push through soil before it can reach the light. A diamond only becomes what it is under intense heat and crushing force. You want to build muscle. You've got to lift something heavy. It's the same with character, with leadership, with purpose. It's developed in difficulty, not in ease. Now psychologically, we are wired to avoid discomfort. The brain's number one job is to keep us safe, to avoid threat, avoid pain. That's natural. But what's also true is that the brain can't tell the difference between fear of failure and fear of actual danger. So the same alarm bells that go off when you're standing at the edge of a cliff, they start ringing when you're standing at the edge of your potential. That's when you have to step in and reframe the situation. You have to say, this obstacle is not a threat. It's an invitation. This is where perspective becomes everything. The great thinkers, the leaders, the creators, they all had one thing in common: they reinterpreted adversity. They didn't deny it. They didn't pretend it didn't hurt, but they saw it differently. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust, once said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." That's mindset meeting reality. That's wisdom born from suffering. And it's a reminder that pain does not have to paralyze you. It can prepare you. I've seen people run from every obstacle in their life. Running from hard conversations, from failure, from anything that might bruise their ego. But you can't outrun growth. And you can't shortcut the process. Every setback you experience holds a lesson you don't get to learn in success. You don't get strong by winning all the time. You get strong by being tested and not folding. Now I want you to take a moment and think back on your life. I mean, really think. Think about one of the hardest seasons you've ever faced. A time when you didn't know if you'd make it. A time when you questioned everything. You might not have known it then, but that experience changed you. It taught you how to endure, how to focus, how to appreciate. It gave you something no easy moment ever could. That's the paradox of obstacles. They look like they're holding you back, but they're actually pushing you forward. If you let them. The problem is, we tend to personalize our pain. We think, why me? Why now? And that kind of thinking makes us feel powerless. But pain is not punishment. Delay is not denial. An obstacle is not an indictment on your worth. It's a mirror. It reflects where you are and reveals what still needs to be developed. And sometimes the obstacle is not in your way. Sometimes it is you. Your doubt, your impatience, your attachment to how things are supposed to go. And when you confront that, you start clearing the path not just in front of you, but within you. In ancient philosophy, the Stoics believed in the concept of homer fati, to love your fate, not just to accept it, but to embrace it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not just poetic. That's a way of living. It means that what you're going through right now, no matter how inconvenient, how painful, how frustrating, is not a detour from your path. It is your path. Your job is not to wish it away. Your job is to walk through it with your eyes open and your spirit strong. Listen, I get it. It's easier to stay stuck. It's easier to complain. To wait for the situation to change, the person to apologize, the conditions to become perfect. But nothing changes until you do. The world doesn't open doors for people who sit back and wait. It opens doors for people who keep showing up. Bruised, tired, uncertain, but still standing. That's how you become unstoppable. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to train your mind to say, this challenge is here to teach me something. Because the truth is, once you survive one obstacle, The next one doesn't scare you the same way. You've built spiritual memory. You've built emotional endurance. And each challenge becomes another layer of armor, not to make you cold but make you solid, grounded in truth, ready for anything. You don't grow by avoiding difficulty. You grow by stepping into it. Eyes wide, heart open. Grounded in the belief that you are stronger than the moment trying to break you. You grow when you stop asking for life to be easy and start asking for life to make you ready. That's what this is about. Readiness. Not for certainty. Just the willingness to keep walking, even when the road rises up to test you. Because you weren't made to retreat. You weren't made to fold. You weren't made to shrink in the face of pressure. You were made to rise. To rise above the noise, the fear, the doubt, the setback. And become everything you were meant to be. So the next time life hands you an obstacle, don't flinch. Don't curse it. Don't run from it. Look it square in the eye and say, "Thank you, been waiting for you. Now watch what I do with this." Because you are strong. You are unstoppable. And every obstacle is just another step in your becoming. Let's talk about the power of purpose. Because when you know why you're here, you stop drifting. You stop living life on accident and start living it on assignment. That sense of direction. That inner conviction. That fire. That's what separates people who move with intention from people who are just reacting to whatever comes their way. We live in a world that's louder than ever. Noise from the media, from opinions, from distractions that pull your attention in 100 directions. If you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life chasing what other people define as success. You'll chase applause. You'll chase validation. You'll chase what looks good on paper. But deep down, you'll feel that ache. That whisper in your soul that says, "This isn't it." Purpose is not about image. It's not about impressing anybody. It's about alignment. Getting in tune with who you are, what matters to you, and what you're called to contribute. And make no mistake, you are called. Not everyone hears it the same way. And not everyone answers it the same way, but we all carry something within us that this world needs. And until you tap into that, life will feel like motion without meaning. You'll be busy, but not fulfilled. You'll be active, but not effective. Psychologically, we are wired to crave purpose. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor I mentioned earlier, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that people can endure almost anyhow if they have a strong enough why. That's not just a nice quote. That's a survival principle. Purpose gives pain a context. It gives challenge a reason. It gives struggle a direction. Without it, pain just feels like punishment. But with purpose, even the darkest valley becomes a tunnel, a passage, not a prison. But here's the truth: a lot of people don't want to hard. Purpose doesn't fall into your lap. It's not found. It's forged. It's revealed through reflection, tested through hardship, and refined through action. You don't wake up one day and just discover your purpose like it's a hidden treasure. You become it. One step, one choice, one act of courage at a time. And don't confuse purpose with perfection. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have a 5-year plan mapped out. All you need is clarity about your values, honesty about your gifts, and the courage to move in that direction. The rest unfolds. It's not about being fearless. It's about choosing to move anyway, even with the fear, even with the uncertainty. We've been conditioned to believe that success means climbing ladders. But what if success isn't vertical? What if it's internal? What if it's not about climbing higher, but about going deeper? Into your truth, into your craft, into your calling. Purpose doesn't always show up with applause. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like staying in the fight when no one's watching. Sometimes it's in how you love your family, how you show up for your community, how you carry yourself with integrity when cutting corners would be easier. Purpose isn't about being recognized. It's about being responsible for the gift you've been given, for the story you're writing with your life. Now philosophically, this isn't a new idea. Aristotle talked about telos, the idea that everything in nature has an end goal, a function, a reason for being. The acorn's purpose is to become an oak. The eye's purpose is to see, the human soul. Its purpose is to live fully, to pursue virtue, to create meaning, to live in alignment with its true nature. And what's remarkable is that we, unlike any other creature, get to choose how we align with our purpose. We get to shape it, to refine it, to act on it. But purpose is not passive. It demands something of you. It demands discipline, focus, Sacrifice. It demands that you stop living in comparison and start living in contribution. It's easy to scroll through social media and think, they've got it all figured out. Look at their life. But purpose isn't measured in likes or follows. It's measured in legacy. It's measured in impact. It's measured in how you make people feel. How you lift them up. How you leave the space better than you found it. And let me be clear. You don't have to be famous to live with purpose. You don't have to be rich. You don't need a platform. You just need to be present. Purpose is found in presence. In how you show up to your life. In how you steward what you've been given. In how you use your voice, even when it shakes. In how you stay faithful to your path, even when it's quiet, even when it's hard. There's going to be resistance. There's going to be distraction. There's going to be days when you question everything. That's normal. That's part of the process. But when you're grounded in purpose, you don't fold. You may bend, you may take a step back, but you don't break. Because something deeper is guiding you. Something no storm can shake. You've heard me talk about strength, about mindset, about resilience in the face of obstacles, but all of that, it finds its fuel in purpose. That's what keeps the fire burning when the applause fades. That's what keeps you standing when the odds are stacked. That's what reminds that you weren't put here just to consume, or to survive, but to build, to contribute, to become. So if you haven't found that purpose yet, don't panic. You're just beginning. Start where you are. Start with what you love. Start with what breaks your heart. Ask yourself, so here we are. We've talked about strength. Not the kind that shows up in the mirror, but the kind that rises up in the dark. The kind that keeps you moving when life hits hard and the path disappears. We've talked about the mind. That battlefield where doubt tries to take the lead, but discipline and clarity fight back. We've talked about obstacles, not as roadblocks, but as rites of passage, challenges that don't define you, but refine you. And we've talked about purpose. That deep, unshakable calling that turns your life from a series of events into a meaningful journey. But all of this, all of it, means nothing if you don't decide to act. You can be strong. You can be smart. You can be gifted. But if you're not committed, if you're not intentional, if you're not willing to show up even when it's inconvenient, none of it matters. Because life won't reward your potential. It rewards your execution. It rewards your consistency. It rewards the person who says, I might not have all the answers, but I refuse to sit still. The truth is, you're not waiting on the right moment. You are the moment. And the sooner you stop outsourcing your power to circumstance, the sooner you'll realize how capable you've always been. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need